To continue looking at the symbolism of Gemini, we see that Gemini is attributed to the arms of the cosmic man, or Adam Kadmon, that we talked about in our first episode, where we discussed Gemini's symbolism of the twins and the association of the twins with our etheric double or astral double in the occult tradition. The Egyptians called this astral double the Ka and symbolized it with the two Gemini arms raised. I couldn't help but think of Gemini and the Ka symbol when I was looking at the San Antonio Spurs logo while noticing all the hype around the Knicks and the Spurs game that peaked this Friday with the victory for the Knicks in New York. Interestingly enough, the last time the Spurs and the Knicks met in the NBA Finals was in 1999, or the Millennium. In this Millennium meetup, the Spurs won, and it was their towering twins, the Twin Towers, that actually held a double-double in that game to help the Spurs win, invoking again the Gemini, Twin Towers, and double or Ka symbolism that we've been seeing so prominently with the Spurs logo. Now, this 1999 game is interesting because it highlighted the Twin Towers, and it happened right before Y2K in New York City. Interestingly enough, the Knicks logo encodes this double K or 2K, which is symbolism that has surrounded the Twin Towers and been explored by my pal at Sea Lion in his YouTube video Star Mummy, where we also see that the Twin Towers have always had a synchromistic association with the Millennium and Y2K in the pop mind of humanity. Another wild Millennium Y2K synchronicity is the Millennium Hilton, which is the Hilton Hotel that stood at the base of the Twin Towers and stood there as they were destroyed in the year 2001. The Millennium Hilton was modeled after the monolith from the film 2001: A Space Odyssey. This synchronicity was pointed out by my pal at Sea Lion and continues to be a mind-blowing connection with the 9/11 event. It's interesting that the Y2K, 2K, Spurs, Twin Towers, and New York Knicks are all up in the pop mind right now again, as this summer we've seen with the planet Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini a lot of powerful symbolism pertaining to Gemini, especially right now with the Sun in Gemini and Uranus, the Aquarian planet, in Gemini. We can see how the World Trade Center event, the destruction of the Twin Towers, actually contains symbolism that relates to the end of the Piscean Age and the beginning of the Age of Aquarius. And the Age of Aquarius, interestingly, is the Age of Man, symbolized by the angel in the quaternity of the fixed signs of the zodiac. Interestingly enough, the Egyptian god He, the god of millions of years, is depicted with his hands raised over the head in the symbol of the Ka, or the Gemini pillars. It's also interesting to note that the Twin Towers, the Gemini pillars, the raised arms of the Ka, are featured on the cover of the film Communion, which is the story about Whitley Strieber, one of the first abductees and contactees in pop culture. And so we can see how 2026 Gemini invokes this theme of contact or communion with this astral double, and we can see that even playing out in the sports game versus the Spurs and Knicks. To go back to Gemini and the astral double, we can think about how Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. And in the tarot, we see that Mercury is given the card the Magus. And on this card, we see Mercury as Hermes and pictured as a kind of silver surfer. So I'd like to point out that as we encounter our continual resonance with Uranus and Gemini and the Sun in Gemini, it seems like our etheric double is being highlighted, and the silver surfer in all of us is being activated a bit. And so I just offered this video as another reflection on Gemini during the sign of Gemini for all of us to consider. So thanks for listening. This is Indra's Net, live from the Logosphere, signing off.